Alright, so we are going to take a look at the Brainwaves Pitch Shifter pedal, part of the Tone Print series from TC. So this is a great one right here, very useful. They have a standalone pedal version of it that there's lots of demos on and great ways to show it off. It's great to have the ability to have multiple, even if it is just two right there. This is probably... as far as just measuring off of this, probably the most DPS heavy effect that is in the series here, because I was only able to fit two of them right here, and it's pretty powerful. The difference between this one and say the Harmony pedal is that the Harmony one is going to stay to a particular scale. So as you move through the intervals, it's going to shift from say if you're doing thirds as your harmony, it's going to shift between major and minor intervals to make it fit within the exact scale that you're telling it to. This one, however, if you set it to thirds, it's going to stick with the thirds all the way through. So if you set it to minor thirds, it's just going to always be shifting at that point instead of kind of going back and forth between major and minor thirds. So let's take a look at these two. So I've got a few different ways that I will use this one. Firstly, so that's without it on. That's with it on. So to my ears, I detect just a tiny little bit of latency. Nothing that's that crazy, but that can stack up depending on other things you've got running through it. I'm getting no latency at all from the Simplifier because it's an all analog signal. So it really is just processing the sound. Now you're probably thinking there's no difference in between it. This is all about the mash feature. So it kind of ramps to whatever intervals I tell it to. Well, it kind of sounds like a bagpipe all the way up there. So to see what I'm adjusting there on this one, I've got the mix 100% up. If I had it at 50, it would sound more like... So you still have some of the dry signal in there as I'm going through, but if it's all the way up, it's pretty much gone at that point. If it's real low, it's still pretty aggressive. Now, part of the reason for that is I've got voice 1 and voice 2 set to harmony 24. So this is going to be measuring your intervals in just like little half-step things. So think about it as having 12 notes in an octave. So if you set it to 12, that would be 1 octave higher than what you're doing. 24 is going to be 2 octaves higher. So this one is kind of set almost like a Tom Morello whammy sound, where I could just mash this instead of having to step on an expression pedal or have a whammy in the signal chain. I have a Digitech whammy. I think it's the version 4, which is not one of the favorite ones. And even when it's off in my signal chain, it just really makes a bad difference in my chains. So I prefer doing something like this much over the actual Digitech whammy pedal. So let's see, if I back it down, let's put the first voice at 12, the other one at 24. So it's more of a 2-note mix in there. What if I do 12 up and 12 down? So that means I'm getting, a low octave and a high octave kind of mixed in there. Very similar to what I could do with the Octaver 7-up that I already did there. So let's maybe do something a little different. Let's do an octave and a fifth. So, oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Now it's only really doing that when I mash, and I think that I made the adjustment on this one to be like that in the Tone Print app. I'm not going to mess with that one though, because I kind of like it. Let's see, the other one that we have here, I know it's even more delay on that one. So what do we have? Look, so common, unison, and the stutter mash is probably the reason for that extra little bit of latency. You can probably hear me plucking the string through the microphone and how much latency there is, but so if you mash it, then it kind of catches and repeats the note that you're playing. So let me hit a chord. Alright, let's switch hands. So as long as I hold this button, even though the strings are muted, I've got my hand across the strings, that pitch is still holding out. Which is kind of cool. Almost infinity looper-like. I haven't tried that one out, but I think it's kind of the same idea, except just not having to... It's probably got like a latching feature or something to it there. So as soon as I let it go, it goes away. That's a cool use of it. And so you can do the whammy, you can do really out there effects like this, and that would be cool to, say, add to maybe kind of like a shoegazy type of board, something like that, where you can just hold that down. Let's maybe look at something else, though, because this is probably the main thing that I use it for, which be in practical anyway. I've got practice test boards. I wouldn't want this to come on while I was playing live, obviously, but what I can do is, see, there's, you know, barely any latency at all. It's the tiniest little delay of it, almost unnoticeable. Probably wouldn't even hear it yourself if you didn't hear my dry strings coming through. So let's say that I'm at practice and my guitar is in D. Someone wants to play something in the key of B. So then I can drop, right now I'm in E, so I would need to drop down 5 tones there. So half of it right there is working for me. But then I've still got my dry notes, so I need to set both of those to -5. Because you think about, like, okay, I got E, then E flat, then D flat. Wait, yeah. E, then E flat, that's 1. Yeah, then D flat. C, B. So 5, or -5. Now you can probably hear the guitar through the microphone. Let me turn around so it's a little bit further away for a second. Cool. Of course, it's polyphonic, and it's pretty good at being able to track those chords. You know, for as well as it tracks the chords, I think I can forgive the very tiny amount of latency that I'm actually hearing in there. So that would be an example of taking me to B. What if I wanted to play in the key of F, but I don't have a capo or anything there? I don't know why I'm making an F chord in the key of F. What if I wanted to go, let's do like an octave guitar. Let's just see what that sounds like. That almost gets you kind of a cool lo-fi, almost kind of a shimmery sound that's kind of cool. There's 2 octaves up with it, so we have 1 octave up. It's a little bit more balanced than having to just hold down that mash button too. That would have got old pretty quick. Let me just scroll through. What else do we have here? I made one, this AMW, that's for my initials there, and then a quick whammy mash. That was before I got into some of these other ones. Let's see, let's try lo-fi version 1. Oh, that's kind of cool. Of course, you could use a whammy pedal or an expression pedal to control something like that. I wouldn't see much point in controlling or assigning it to something else other than just using a whammy. Let's make it a chord. Let's make it, of course, if it's root, and then, let's see, here we go. Root, 3, and 7. That would be a minor. Oh, that's kind of weird. I'm gonna have to write something around that. That's of course minor, just all over the place. It's not trying to stick within a scale like the harmonizer would. So that's the big difference between these two. If I wanted to take it to major, all I needed to do is turn this harmony 3 to harmony 4. And see, even that, I played a major scale, but it sounds kind of like unpleasant every few notes. Because we need a shift between major and minor thirds. If you'd like a little bit more information on some of that stuff that I'm talking about, you can check out some of my other videos in the playlist where I talk about scale theory, chord theory, modes as well, and we'll probably do some other technique things in the future. To be honest, though, just looking at the numbers of views between the actual lesson stuff that I put out there versus these gear videos, it's I wouldn't say it's sad, but people are much more interested in gear and what's going on than actual delving into music knowledge. So if you'd like some more spelled out answers on what I'm talking about, I've probably already covered it in some of those videos. Let me go ahead and wrap this one up. I feel like it's pretty self-evident what's going on with the pitch shifter and some of the major possibilities that you have for it. So you can do really extreme effects. You can do a whammy effect without having to get an actual whammy pedal in your signal chain. You can do pitch shifting, kind of like I think it's the Digitech Ricochet that does stuff like that. So tons of possibilities with the pitch shifter. It is going to eat up some of that DSP, so just consider that. But super useful, almost worth the price of the whole thing right here. You only get 2 of them in the slots, but it's not like you're really going to be stacking them or anything. I imagine that would add to the latency. Let's hear what it sounds like with some delay on that, actually. That's kind of cool. Cool. All right. So like I said, anyone that's watched my videos knows I just have to cut myself off at some point because I will just keep going and going. But thank you guys very much, and I will see you here soon. Next video, reverb. Nice. All right. We will see you then.